Okay, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath. Jenny?
This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
It'll be all right. I'll talk to Boxman.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week. Jenny?
I'm sorry, Kath, you're going to have to leave.
Not letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded me.
10 seconds,
I thought we were
everybody.
all part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so
Sorry, in
high-mighty
5,
and do your job.
4,
You'll have me fine.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
So how do you feel about the sanctions?
I actually think that with advance in charge we'll be fine. Of course, the rest of the world will want us to fail, or it will be their billionaires next. But I trust Julia and Peter.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
Hi there, Robin Short, National Nightly News. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the current government.
I'm not really very interested in politics, really. As Mother always said, leave politics to the politicians, Malcolm.
A Flard day's night. Following the release of the Flardmaster 5000, production of Flards are at an all-time high, requiring the new manufacturing facility in Grizzleford to move to 24-hour-a-day production.
With people finding more and more uses for the ever-versatile Flard, the team at Remington Cyst certainly have their hands full keeping up with demand.
So, is there anything better than a handful of Flards? We asked Patrick to find out. Patrick?
What's your opinion of Flards?
I'd get them banned, mate. Flards killed 3 members of my family and more than one pet. We should have stuck with Werbs. It was safer then.
A momentary lapse of reason. Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Ah, well, now you're talking. Ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
So you both feel they're a cause worth supporting?
Oh, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves Disrupt, fighting the oiks for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Do you need me to get you some help?
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Svorsborg-Hawkensford today sent a blueprint of the escape craft in which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
So I'd imagine that you think this is a great plan.
Oh my God! How did you know? It's a brilliant idea. I hope everyone gets behind them so that they know that we're with them. In spirit, of course. I can't actually go diving because I'm scared of salt.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team Membership Cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, vitally, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
I don't really join things as a rule. As Mother always said, membership is mostly for unmentionables, Malcolm.
And finally tonight, back on it, popular sports personality Johnny Hamsleeves and his fiancée Tiffany Lamour were spotted out today doing a little shopping for what many are already calling the greatest wedding ever.
We can only assume that Tiffany's latest show, My Teenage Secretions, has sold better than expected, as by the looks of things, the whole affair's about to become more expensive than Lil C's shoe collection.
I don't know who that is.
But what should your opinion be of this extravagant display of wealth?
Oh my God, fantastic!
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National Nightly News.
Tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at Labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah?
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, vote thing, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Feuerland here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to work our grandparents clean, yeah, whilst the vote was happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man? It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis, who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that... Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. They can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have like serious animal welfare legislation. And like my friend Helge, she got arrested for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restrictive monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and power outages...
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Bjerk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Svenland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Votovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant Newton hairy bear, when really he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis. Yes, thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back
after these messages.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
So you can carry on coming together to enjoy life